think
were they actually kids on the island? Like I feel like all the pictures I have seen have been like young women who were far too young. Don't get me wrong, but like not children. I never saw any pictures of like 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds.
It looked more like an entrapment thing where it's like, because there were cameras in every room where people were fucking in that weird ass temple, and it's like, you fucked a 16-year-old. You've just been got. Looks like you're agreeing with all the policy I want put forward, or this is going to leak. People are going to find out. That's what seems more likely.
Did Epstein not think that the cameras would come back to bite himself in the ass?
Maybe
he clearly didn't. In 2007, he was so sure of himself getting off that the authorities would let him go that he was like laughing about being caught with stuff. Like he thought he was totally invulnerable. And when you have dirt on the most powerful people on earth, you largely are invulnerable. But I watched some of the Netflix documentary on Epstein, and it's hilarious how they try and hint at like, and this lone ranger of pedophilia. And it's like, you son of a bitch. We know he's more connected to powerful organizations than you're letting on. You can't just own an island and come up with $1 billion out of nowhere and have kids getting molested there.
Why isn't any of this footage come up? Like either against Epstein or against some powerful figure? Like if there's footage of all these people having sex with children, why is all of it so hidden? Why is none of it used?
If you're powerful enough to have a rape island with underage kids fucking with like kings and princes and special agents coming there and presidents, you're definitely powerful enough to cover it up when the time comes. There was aerial photos that showed prior to the raid all the computers that were in certain areas, and then as the raid was happening, there were other aerial photos that showed through those windows like the computers were gone by that point, and we haven't heard anything about what was on those. But, it's definitely deeper than people think.
That footage exists, though. You could bet your ass that's not destroyed. Somebody backed it up before they destroyed it on those computers, and I'm sure it exists somewhere. I don't know who's holding it now.
But what site? There's so many sites.
Which ex-girlfriend site was he? Yeah, that's such a good episode.
That's the best. Okay. What's the name of the Epstein chick? Ghislaine Maxwell?
Ghislaine?
I guess, yeah. Ghislaine. So I wonder what we get out of her.
I don't think we're going to get anything. If you've looked
into stories, I guarantee.
If you've looked into Ghislaine Maxwell, she's the daughter of Robert Maxwell. And Robert Maxwell was one of the most prolific Mossad agents of all time. He was actually a double agent with the UK back in the 40s and 50s. He had a lot to do with the formation of Israel as a state. And so she clearly, just like Epstein,
keep her mouth shut.
Worked with Mossad, and I believe Mossad worked with the CIA. Mossad is Israel's intelligence, like CIA. Our CIA is obviously our CIA. And so I think Mossad and the CIA worked together with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, all of them in order to entrap powerful people and get them to do what they want. That seems to be the most logical thing, especially given the fact that she comes from a family of Mossad agents. Like
so you think even now she still wouldn't break that because it could still be used against these powerful people. So she's not going to say anything?
Oh, she's fucked. She will not be allowed to say a single thing. Like
why can't you say, hey, Tom Hanks, here's some video of Tom Hanks having some sex on pedophile.
Not my first guess.
Part of
it just popped in my head.
Wouldn't that just destroy all your faith in humanity if Tom Hanks turned out to be a real scummy
just a piece of shit?
He was the best of us.
I think it would give me some. Like if Tom Hanks was a piece of shit, you know what? There's hope for me after all. All right. Tom Hanks was a pedophile? Oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow with a shine and with a jump in my step.
Than Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Everybody hear that?
Loved Tom Hanks.
If it comes out that Tom Hanks,
I'm not Tom Hanks.
But really, yeah, that's what it seems to be. It seems to be a psyop to get people to implicate themselves in crimes and then have it held to their feet held to the fire.
So now she's just a person who knows some information, but other people know it. So if she spills the beans on these people, it kind of ruins the ability to still use these high-profile people. And why would she do that?
There are clearly some people.
My prediction would be is that they will do the same thing like with the Netflix documentary on Epstein, where they try and make it seem as though Epstein, Ghislaine, they're all atomized individuals just doing something on their own.
Right, crazy on their own.
They will never implicate a larger organization in it. And the fact that authorities now entirely control what Ghislaine is able to say means that we'll never actually know what she has to say. We'll never fucking know.
Here's the thing.
That is true.
There are clearly people in powerful positions who are not in on the jig, right? Who are not in on the conspiracy. If that wasn't true, she wouldn't be arrested right now. She wouldn't be on trial right now. They wouldn't be like trying to get information out of her. She'd be scot-free and okay. So somebody is acting honestly. Right? Someone is trying to get to the bottom of this. And I won't deny that there's probably people trying to make sure they don't get to the bottom of it, but let's watch how it plays out.
Well, let's see.
But I don't see
Epstein was also arrested.
Can you say that again, Taylor? It was cut off.
Oh, sorry. You could have said the same thing about Epstein.
Yeah, I think it's still true.
You know, he's been arrested and this and that. And all the cameras failed. Do we need to look at the photo of the cop murderer that they put in the cell with him? That horrifyingly large individual.
Talk about on steroids, yeah.
That guy was so scary. That guy was so scary.
So Taylor, I agree with what you're saying, except I don't think that you've countered my point. There are people in on it and people who aren't in on it. If everybody was in on it, he'd have never been in jail. Somebody was trying to get to the bottom of this Epstein thing, and then somebody else made sure he died.
I think it's more of a problem of public perception, where once the public was aware enough to the behavior that was going on this island, it became inevitable for the powers that be to arrest him and hold him, you know? Whereas if it didn't become a large story, most of the elite are in on this kind of devious shit, or even if they're not in on it, they're aware of it.
You can keep this shit hidden though in conspiracy land of Reddit and other places where you have enough plausible deniability. Epstein had enough plausible deniability. What was the final straw that went, all right, we got to arrest you? It was nothing worse than shit he had walked for already.
If they wanted to just disappear Epstein, they never would have arrested him, made him get all over TV,
just
put him in
somewhere
jail with the cameras. Right. And, he was a real problem that they had to solve. There was an easier way to solve that problem.
If they wanted to disappear him without the appearance of impropriety, what they would do is arrest him and then have him kill himself in prison, because then there's plausible deniability about saying that you did arrest this individual and you're going to hold him accountable for crimes. Oh my God, he killed himself and all the information he had is gone. So that's exactly what they would do if they were trying to make it look as though any bit of impropriety was not there. That's exactly what they would do. If they were truly trying to get to the bottom of it, they would let him take the stand. They would let him accuse people, but they won't.
The same way they do with her, though.
Ghislaine will not accuse anyone. She'll be threatened with death. Her family will be threatened with death. Like, that's the way it's going to be. We're not going to get to the bottom of this. Do you notice how fast that story left the mainstream media? How quickly?
Mainstream.
How quickly it was like, this person's being arrested because they're pedophile fucks. Also, Trump is a Russian agent.
Let me respond to that point you made, because I don't want to talk over you because it silences you, but I also the point.
I appreciate it.
If they wanted to get rid of Epstein without the appearance of impropriety, he would have just drowned on his own. He would have just had a car accident on his own. I think it's way less sketchy. Those things happen all the time. His plane could have gone down. Like, there's a lot of shit that could have just ended. It probably would have barely made the news. Yeah. But for him to get arrested, for all this news to come out, then all the photos surface, and then he's in jail, and they have to disable the cameras and put in the weird guy, and the correctional officers have to be asleep and unqualified and this and that. And like, they did it the hard way and the visible way. The easy way? Dude drowned on his island. Not even in America. Just done.
But it was an independent story that broke it and forced the hand of the powers that be to do this to Epstein. It wasn't CNN, Fox, MSNBC. It wasn't one of them that forced the hand of people.
But so easy to discredit. Like, fucking, what, they're going to arrest the Wayfair president now because that story came out?